The information shared on the Slipstream gift are from personal accounts and experiences, which are intended to help create discussions on the possibilities and perspectives of energetic potentials.
I thought there was going to be
any communications, considerations, or recommendations are not a substitute for medical, psychological, or licensed professional help in wellness or recovery. Please seek a qualified practitioner regarding specific needs or concerns. We thank you and hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Slipstream Gift, a place of energetic healing potentials waiting to be explored. Hosts Todd Wilcox and Brandon Wainwright will take you on a deep dive of discussion into energetic modalities, self-healing, consciousness expansion, spiritual peace, and overall positive encouragement, while traversing life's spiraling universal questions. Each episode provides a sacred space to share ideas as well as experience interactive energy healing sessions, all guided live with heart. Now here are your hosts, Todd Wilcox and Brandon Wainwright.
Brandon, I think you are muted, buddy. Still muted. While you work on the technical difficulties, hopefully people can hear me. I just want to say how much I love that intro. Kelly, outstanding job. I loved watching Tyson running towards the energy. That was really cool. I heard you for a second, Brandon.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. So if I seem like I'm all off, that's why. My microphone stopped working and I couldn't see the intro or anything. That's crazy. I guess we'll just have to chalk it up to spirits playing some mischief on our show for our first episode, huh? Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the Slipstream Gift, our first debut show here on Sacred Spiral Network. I'm your host, Brandon Wainwright, along with Todd Wilcox. And tonight, we're going to basically do an introduction to Todd. Going forward, we'll be doing features on different healers each week and also doing healings. But tonight, we wanted to get to know you and you to get to know us. So we're going to start off talking all about Todd tonight. In a couple of weeks, when we do our next episode, we will talk. Todd will serve as interviewer, and I will be talking about myself. But don't worry, after that, it'll be focused on other people. So anyway, Todd, I figure we should kind of get into what your background is. Why don't you tell us a little about your pre-woo-woo life? And then we can go from there. That way, everybody, you'll be relatable. Everybody will realize you're a regular Joe who just happened to have his gifts blown open.
Yeah, pre-woo-woo. And I honestly don't know if there is a pre-woo-woo. Even as a little guy, I can remember always being fascinated with science fiction and seeing the doctors on Star Trek fixing someone immediately. Or in different shows. I remember Forbidden Planet had some healing type stuff going on it. And those really just fascinated me. And I couldn't look away. Anything science fiction, anything that was out of the norm, I was super interested in, even to the point of, like voodoo and things like that on the different TV shows. I wanted to watch and learn about everything. Anything that, and what it boils down to, anything that seems to be associated with energy. And so I've been fascinated with energy my whole life. I didn't really know what to call it or how to call it anything until I was about in my late 30s, early 40s. I was on a paranormal team, and we wanted to help people that nobody else could help. And I thought, well, that's great. I want to do that. I want to help people. But if my team couldn't help them. Your team couldn't help them. How's this new team we're forming going to help them? What are we going to do that's different? And we talked. There was a group of about 8 of us, and we talked about different modalities we could study. And one of the things that we decided on was that we needed to have some shaman training to work with the energy there. And something you'll hear from me quite often is when I was getting that initial training, I did not resonate with that shaman that they had in, and she was just pushing her view of things on us too much, and it just wasn't what I was seeing and feeling and registering. And so I didn't argue or break what she was doing. I listened to the process and did it on my own later. She was telling everybody that your energy's red and it's hot, and mine at the time was blue. It was light blue and it was cold, and so I couldn't stay in state with her. But I did listen, and I wanted to make sure that I could do these things, but I started doing it on my own. And really, this has been my own trail, and I'm sure there's something in the universe guiding me. But what I do, as shamans of the past have, is work with energy and spirit, and that's really what it boils down to. And you could even say that prayer is working in a place of energy and spirit. And what you and I do is a very focused form of that. And so it all started because I wanted to help people that had haunting problems. And then it evolved into something that quite by accident I started using to help people who were sick, who had some trauma. I mixed it with some other work that I'd done. If anybody's familiar with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I studied that, and some of the things I do kind of fall along those lines. But truly, the Slipstream Shaman method is its own leg, its own trail of shaman.
But I'm curious though, Todd. Just as far as before you started doing this work, I mean, you were a Marine, right?
Oh, sure.
You were in the Marine Corps.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's a big cultural and occupational difference there. And it's at some point, I mean, you say you did paranormal type of work and helping people get rid of hauntings and things like that. What was the bridge that took you from, being a Marine and having that type of mentality? I mean, I'm sure, especially if you were conscious of energy and that sort of thing during that time, I'm sure it was a difficult balance to have.
Yeah.
So what brought you over?
So really, it's not, when you talk to people in the military, some of them are just gung ho and want to go shoot things and blow things up and do those kind of things. That's the reason they're there. My purpose, and I didn't realize it was my purpose until I was quite a bit older, is to help. And what drew me to the Marines was to help. I saw that as a way to help people. And so it was, to me, and I don't know if I was right, but I went there because I wanted to help, and I felt like that's what our military did, was help. Now, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but that was my feeling definitely at the time. And I loved being a Marine. I loved the physicality of it, the workout. I'm sure if I was younger, I would be diagnosed with ADHD. And so that heavy activity really helped me to focus and to think. So it was a great thing for me. It was great as a young man.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to give a shout out to some of the people that are tuning in here. Tani, thanks for being here. It's a labyrinthian criterion. Just Jody and Primavera. Michael Zen's here. Evelyn. Just want to say hello to everybody and let you know that we're appreciative of you being here. So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
That's
no,
cool.
And that's fine. And I'm glad you did, because I truly am not capable of multitasking. So if I'm looking at
That's,
the things people are sending, I'm going to be completely out of the conversation. So I'm glad you're doing that, because you would just be getting the glass-eyed stare from me.
yeah.
So I need to stay out of there.
Primavera is primrose. I know, babe. I know it's you. So, all right.
But yeah, I did it to help, and it was focused on help, to help people, and so it wasn't a huge transition. I remember one time you and I were on my radio show, and we got laughing because here's a Marine and a cop, and all we're talking about is love and positive energy,
Yeah.
which
Well,
kind of went sideways.
I relate though. I mean, for me, what drew me into the police was trying to help people, and the camaraderie and that sort of thing too. But yeah, I mean, it's the type of job where you're going and you've got a mission, and the mission is generally seen as positive.
Yes.
It just depends on the situation, of course. But yeah, so I can definitely empathize with that. Makes sense. But especially of all the branches of the military, the Marine Corps, is the most hardcore as far as, being gung-ho and physical and at least that's the reputation. So it's just it's interesting that you would that choose them and then make that transition.
And you know what, with me, it's always about energy, and by far that's where my energy was being drawn. Now, if we had a star fleet, that's where it would have gone. I would have gone there instead.
You would have done.
Oh yeah, without question.
Space Force.
Yes.
Well, it didn't
today
exist. It'd be Space Force.
My hair. That's
right.
So yeah, it wasn't. If it was available, I would have. That's where I would have gone. But yeah, I didn't have it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you went into, you were helping with the paranormal, and then you kind of found yourself going into your own brand of shamanism.
Yes,
just based on the fact that you needed to kind of reinvent the way things were being approached.
Yes, and one of the things that shaman was teaching us was find a warrior, or 3 warriors to have with you when you're doing these things. And what I mean by that is some kind of energetic warrior. And people were doing Archangel Michael and Jesus and different things like that for their warriors. And really what came to me was dogs. A beagle that I had came to me, Desi. Some of my springers came to me that had passed. These dogs had all passed away. They were, that I had in the earlier life, and so it was always dogs. And then I had an uncle.
So do you believe as far as those dogs? Do you believe it's their spirits that are actually them that are coming to help you, or is it more your? Yeah.
I believe that they're my dogs.
Hey, Jennifer.
And same with my aunt comes. My uncle comes to help with different things. And I do believe that's them. It feels like their essence. It feels like their energy. I do think it's them.
So you get the added benefit, not just of doing the healing work, but you get to intermingle with your loved ones that have crossed over.
Yes. Yeah.
What absolutely. A gift.
Yes. And other entities. I had a very powerful experience about 4 months ago, and I'm not quite ready to share it with the world. You and I can talk about it at a different time, but I was in my quantum room, and we'll talk about that during the show. And this just incredibly powerful, positive energy came into the quantum room, like nothing I'd ever experienced before. And it was the essence of somebody that probably, I would guess, everybody on this call would know who it was. But I was just blown, and you can see I can't even speak. I was blown away by the power of the energy and the love and the understanding and the caring. And I was just in awe and shock that somebody like that would come to me. And someday I'll share it. It might be it feels self-aggrandizing right now to mention who it was. And so someday I might, but man, what a beautiful, powerful experience that was.
I definitely have an idea who you're talking about. I don't think it's self-aggrandizing though. That's what I think it is. He shows up for everybody.
Shockingly, it was a female. Which
okay, then it isn't who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and here's something else. When I got my spirit animals, when they came to me, it was a bull elk was the first one that came to me. The second one was Sasquatch, and it was a female Sasquatch. And
that's really
everybody, was almost shocked. They're like, I've had people say there's female Sasquatches. Yes.
Yes. So not to go on a tangent there, but the Sasquatches, do you believe that they are aliens?
I think they're in some kind of yeah, I would call them an interdimensional being. When the energy of the Sasquatch came to me for my spirit animal, I was looking at a row of mountains, and I knew without question I could just walk, and I could see, I don't know how many miles, 10 miles down this mountain range. I truly felt and believed with every fiber of my spirit that with this, with the essence of this Sasquatch, I could walk that mountain range in minutes. And I think they're able to move in and out of time as we know it, and I think that's why we can't find
them. Just to clarify, you were in your quantum room when this occurred?
No, I was on the side of a mountain when I got my spirit animals, just fasting, and had a fire going, and requested them, and they came to me.
So you were able to literally take on their consciousness.
Yes, it's like they got inside my body almost. Now these are different than the warrior team. When the dogs come to visit me, I'm not in their spirit. We're interacting, but we're not. It's different. The dogs come to help. They want to be on the team. They're, I guess, an equal to me. I don't know how to say it. Where the Sasquatch and the bull elk are a higher level being that are helping me.
Okay, so we should probably, we're getting. So I'm sure a lot of people are like, what is he talking about as far as the quantum room and the way you work. So you're working in paranormal teams, and you're starting to have your own quantum, your own vision. You've got the animals, the spirits of your previous animals, loved ones that are coming to assist you. Tell us kind of how that works as far as so going forward. So were you still working in the paranormal, like doing the cleansing and the investigations and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was still working that. And when I got the quantum room, it was quite by accident. Well, to my mind, it was accident. I was probably guided there, but I was meditating. I was using rattles to get my energy right at that time. And I had just started to find my energy with my palms. And while I was doing that, all of a sudden I was in this room and I call it a room, but it was more like being inside of a storm cloud. Everything was just moving gray, moving mist around me. And one of the people that I was thinking about walked into the quantum room. And actually, let me back up. The Desi came first. I said, I need to have a warrior team. That was one of the things that the shaman trainer was telling us. So you need to have warriors. So I need to have a warrior team. Desi came to me. She was a beautiful little beagle, but ferocious. She would, if she got a hold of a rat, that thing's done. A snake, that thing's done. A German Shepherd didn't want to mess with her, ran away. She was ferociously protective of our yard and our family, and but just absolutely gorgeous and super friendly to humans, but not to other animals. It took her a long time to get to where she would be around another dog, and she didn't want any part of that. So anyway, she was a great choice for a warrior. And then my uncle, who had also been in the Marine Corps, he had passed on, he came, and a bunch of my dogs showed up. They were all Springer Spaniels. And So I had this warrior team, and the first time that somebody that I was trying to do, and while we call it a healing, it's more of an energy alignment. I think I find the tipping point more than anything. So somebody's almost ready to heal, and we find that one or two last things in their energy that needs to be changed so that they can. And that's where I see myself fitting into this equation. I'm just pulling out that last straw so that everything works. And Desi finds those. She's got this great nose, and she goes and finds these things for us. And so I'll invite somebody in the quantum room, invite the warrior team in. Desi starts sniffing around. She'll find something on or in them, pull it off of them. The other dogs will kind of keep it contained while I send cleansing energy to it. And then we also have a love team. And I didn't have that at first. It was just the warrior team. And then I realized that nature abhors a vacuum. And if we were going to take something off somebody or out of somebody, we needed to put something back in there, or it was going to happen again. And so when we remove these things, these companions or parasites, or there's one other thing that we'll talk about in a couple of weeks, but when we remove those, I want to have something to fill the people up so that nothing else gets there that shouldn't be. And so we fill them with love. And we do the same thing with the items that we pull out of people. So as an example, I was working with a lady, and she came to me. Desi starts sniffing around her, starts sniffing around her ribs, kind of digs. And this is all metaphysical. She's not with me. She was in another state. This was all in the quantum room, in meditation, in energy and spirit. And the energy of Desi's digging into her side and pulls this rag out of her. And we put the rag on the floor. The other dogs held it there while I gave it cleansing energy to debride it and get all the crud off it. And then the love team just gave it all kinds of love energy. It filled it up with love, and it transformed from a rag to a beautiful little boy with blonde hair and blue eyes that looked up smiling and then left. And each time that we take something off of somebody and we do this healing, I always work on that thing as well as the person we're doing it, because most of these started out with a positive intention, and I don't want to just pull them off and leave them out there. So we get them, we clean the energy, we give them love so that they can return to their natural state, and go help somebody else, or evolve, or whatever it is that this energy does once it's no longer with that person.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, we talk about this some in the little previous intro episodes we did. Everything is God's creation. It's the things that we perceive as negative or positive, all of them originate from God. And it's our thoughts and that are actually turning things into what we might perceive as negative. So the idea that you make sure that you give these whatever you want to call them, attachments or I don't want to call them demons.
Yeah, well, there's three things that I call them. The first one's a companion, and that started out as something positive. You hurt yourself, and you hurt your arm, and you put some tape on it kind of tight so it doesn't hurt, or it doesn't hurt as bad. If you leave that there, so right now it's helping you, right? It's doing something very positive for you. If you leave that there for a week or a month or a year, that's no longer positive. Now it's causing you damage. And that's what these companions are. And that's about 95, 96% of what I find. Something that started good, that's still good. It's no longer able to help. Something that helps a 5-year-old is probably not helping a 30-year-old. Does that make sense? And then the next thing is a parasite. And that started off with a bad intent. And I like to talk to people about road rage at this moment. So those bad thoughts you're thinking about road rage, when you're mad at somebody, those thoughts could be going out and attaching to people or even you and causing problems. And I call that a parasite. So it's something that started off with a negative intention and is causing trouble. And then the final thing would be what we talked about earlier is like a demon, an alien, or some weird thing. Those are so rare. I've done thousands of these healing alignments with people, and I've only witnessed 2 of those. So those, they're super uncommon. The chances of us running into that while we're doing this show is fairly light. But it may be something that we run into, but for the most part, what we're going to see is a companion, something that started out as something positive, and the person outgrew it, and now it's causing trouble.
But ultimately, everything is whether directly or indirectly, is a creation of God. And so the idea that they be given the opportunity to go to the light and be turned into something positive, or turn back into something positive, I think it's important to keep that in mind. Instead of this adversarial view on things. That adversarial view is oftentimes creates the negative thought forms, and everything is energy. So if you're looking at something negatively, that's having an impact on them energetically.
Yeah. And when I started this, and it was part of part of being a Marine, part of the shaman that was training us originally, it was all about fighting things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Sure.
I wasn't looking at what we could do besides fighting them. And once and somebody teased me and got me on a different trail as I was describing what was happening. And I thought, okay, yeah, we need to do something besides just fight things. Some of these things need love. Some of them need, they might be screaming for help, is why they're causing trouble, is because they actually need somebody to help them. So once I started doing that, everything changed.
And I think that's really important, because I think for a lot of people, myself included, it took a while before I was exposed to that concept. You always kind of think in terms of good and bad, evil and positive. And the reality is everything comes from God. And to keep that in mind, I think is really important. And, and then just the concept of Christ consciousness too. Everything is connected and everything is one, including the things that we might perceive as negative, whether that be human or otherwise, right? Or spirit or incarnate.
Yeah, Jody's asking a great question. How does it affect the dogs afterwards? I have not seen any kind of a change in the dogs. And my experience with my dogs has always been they live in the now. I envy dogs because they are so fully present. And sure, some background stuff can create some behavioral problems, but for the most part, what I'm seeing with the dogs is their behavior doesn't change. They're living in the moment, and even in the energy, level. So it's all about now. And so, and they have not been hurt. And I get the feeling that they know they're doing something noble. So I think they're proud to be a part of this, and that it gives them energy and happiness to help, because they're right there. It's, as soon as I start doing the work, they're just there. I don't even have to call for them. They're just there to help and ready to help.
So, can you give some examples of some healings that you've done using the quantum room that were remarkable?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my favorite ones, if not my absolute favorite, and unfortunately I tell the same stories over and over and over. And part of that is because when I'm in the quantum room, it's a place of energy and spirit. My brain is not energy and spirit. My thoughts are, but my ability to hold those thoughts are not. So after a session, if I don't make notes and write things down immediately, I don't remember it. So I've got just a few stories that I like to tell, because I've written them down and I've talked about them enough that I can actually remember them. But if I did a session with you right now, within an hour, I couldn't tell you what we did. It's just gone. It's not something my human brain can hold. So I'd have to say my favorite one was I work with some people that are involved in organ transplant, organ donations. And I got a call from a nurse one evening that said a little boy that they'd done a transplant on was not doing well, and they were afraid they were going to lose him. Would I be interested in doing my stuff and helping? And so, yeah, of course. And so I immediately went into the quantum room, invited this little boy in, and they don't tell me anything about them. I don't know what they had transplanted. I don't know their names, anything like that. I don't know where they're from or anything. And so I invite this little boy in, and he comes in, and he just looks tired. And so there was really nothing for Desi to do, nothing to remove. So we just surrounded him. The love team surrounded him. The warrior team, all the dogs surrounded him. I was right there, and we just funneled love into this little boy, and it was going up through his feet and out through his fingertips and out his eyes and his ears. Just, the streamers of energy were coming out of him. He is so full of this love energy, and I could see him changing from a gray color to a good, healthy skin tone, and standing a little taller and smiling, and the energy streamers that were coming off of him, especially the ones off his head, were going to family members of his. And he was smiling and happy, and we ended that part of the session. And as I was wrapping up and he was getting ready to go back, I saw another little boy. And this little boy was very just exhausted and hurt. And, that you could tell this energetically drained. And so the first one I worked with was the recipient of the organs. The second one I worked with was the donor. And I started working with the donor. We did the same thing. We didn't try to remove anything. We just filled this little boy up with energy and love, and saw him standing stronger and happier. And when the energy came off him, it was very focused. When he was so full that he couldn't hold it anymore, he was sending out energy to his family, and he was much more concerned about his family feeling better than him feeling better. And so then we invited the family in, the energy of the family in. And usually I ask for permission. This time I did not. I had permission from the nurse to work with the first little boy. This boy came in, so I figured I had permission. And then I went and got his family anyway. I normally ask permission, but I don't know who they are. To this day, I don't know who the family is. But we brought the family in, did the same thing, just filled them up with love, made everybody feel so much better. The little boy was so happy that his family felt better. And the session ended. The next day, I called the nurse and said, well, actually, she called me and said, hey, everything is going great. He turned the corner last night. He's up and walking. It's shocking to me now when they're doing transplants, people are out of the hospital in days. And they're up and walking this, like the next day. And these are people that were on death's door and they get a new organ and now they're up and walking. Medicine is amazing. So let me back up just a little bit. When the family was with the boy that had donated, I was thanking him, and as they were getting ready to leave, the boy who received the organs came over to me, and I thought, I need to see if I can have some kind of better contact with him. So I said, can you tell me your name? And I'm not going to tell you what he said. I'm going to use a different, he said a letter to me, and I'm going to give you a different letter than what he said. So that we don't, I need to keep him anonymous. But he said, C, sure. C. And I'm looking at him and going, C. I was like, is it Charlie? Is it Cedric? Is it Calvin? I'm going through all these C names. And he's this big smile on his face. No. He's just laughing at me. And then he leaves. The next day I'm talking to the nurse, and I said, and I found out how well he was doing, and I was so happy. And I said, I have a question for you. I asked the boy his name, and is it Charlie or Cedric? And I started naming off all these C names, and the nurse started laughing at me, just kind of like the boy did. And I said, yeah, he just kept saying C. He says, And the nurse tells me, well, you just weren't listening. His name's Cece. So I'm hearing C, trying to get a C name. And he was telling me his name. It was Cece. So I absolutely love that one. He went home. He's doing great.
Sounds like that funny scene from Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah. And yeah. So another one I can tell you, and this will tell you, it'll give you a better idea of what happens afterwards with these things too. Had a friend that was posting on Facebook that he was going to have to put his puppy down. It was very sick, and they were going to have to put it down because nothing the vet was doing was helping. And I called him and said, "Hey, wait, don't leave yet. Wait for an hour before you go to the vet." And so I started doing this work with I brought the puppy's energy in, and the dogs worked with the pup. I can't remember what we found, but we brought it out. We healed it. We gave the dog healing energy. The dog looked healthy, happy, strong when I left. Well, later that day, I see again, he's posting. He says, I ended up not taking the puppy to the vet. He's doing well. I think everything's okay. And so I call him. I said, your dog's doing well? Oh yeah, turned the corner. The medicine must have finally started working. I said, oh, okay, yeah, it must have been the medicine. The vet was really happy and said, yeah, this happens all the time. It happens right at the end. Just when we think we're going to have to put them down, they make this change. And this guy doesn't remember that I asked him not to go to the vet. And he doesn't remember that I asked for permission to do the healing work. And he doesn't remember that the dog all of a sudden got better, like as we're doing this, right? And so wow. What I learned from that is it's you can't be looking for a pat on the back. You can't be looking for people to call you up and thank you. It's kind of like when you watch the superheroes, they have to be anonymous in everything they do.
Yeah.
With my work, I just have to accept, and I'm not a superhero, but I just have to accept that anonymity and understand that I probably won't be thanked for any of this, and that's okay. The thanks are in the results, I guess.
Well, and on a higher level, I would argue that he, like, clearly he was too resistant to the idea that this stuff is real to be able to take it in beyond the desperation that he had to save his dog. But on a higher level, his higher self certainly was aware enough to be open to the idea that it could happen, and wanted to let you do it.
Yeah,
so maybe
it wasn't not in the just 3D.
Him,
it's 98% of the people I work with never make the connection that what I'm doing is helping. The few that do really make me feel great, and it's people that are in the field like you that do notice it. But the average person that I do this stuff for it's just like I don't remember what we did. They don't remember it either, I guess. So yeah, I don't get a lot of thanks or kudos or anything like that, but I know what happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not about that anyway.
It truly isn't. And I saw a thing about if they sound similar. I don't really hear my spirit guides, and I have a couple different levels of spirit guides. I don't really hear their voices. There's a feel and there's an energy and there's a change. So yeah, I don't hear them, but I do get your question about how my thoughts and intuition sound one way and a spirit guide would sound another, but I don't hear them. And I don't know how to describe the way we interact. I just know what they're trying to tell me and what we're doing.
Clear. Well, sometimes with the hearing, you hear thoughts anyway, right? You hear it's not necessarily like an audible thing.
Yeah, it's not an audible thing, and it's not necessarily a thought. It's just I just know, and energy changes, and I guess I feel that. So yeah, it's hard to explain the interaction.
So I guess and we are going to get to a healing, so we've got just to be the time monitor. We only have a few minutes before we need to do a healing here if we're going to do one. But I just thinking in terms of like the way different energy workers are, everything is energy. So when you're working with your quantum room, would you say that that's like for me when I work, I feel energy, and that's for me, that's where it's at, is the energy that I feel running through me. But I don't see all this different stuff, but it's still energy, it's still happening. Is the quantum room kind of like, I don't know, kind of like a hologram for you, do you think, where you're manipulating stuff, but it's actually manifesting in a different place? If that makes sense.
Yeah, you could look at it as a hologram. It's very, when I'm there, it's very real. It's very alive. It's not just a thought. It's something way beyond that. So hologram's not the worst description of it. I think it might be a higher level thing than a hologram. But yeah, the definition of hologram does it justice.
I want to point out to the audience that, if you want to read Todd's book, it's at slipstreamshaman.com, right? You can get a copy of it.
Yes. Yeah, you can order, you can get it there. It's actually through Amazon, but there's a link at slipstreamshaman.com to Amazon.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's a good read. I can vouch for it, and it kind of explains how everything transitioned into what he's doing now. So if you're interested, I highly recommend it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to shout out to my friend Eli, who tuned in. I saw he put a little note earlier, and I wasn't ignoring you. Just want to point out, thank you for being here. Okay, what do you think?
Yeah, I know
you want.
Yeah, we promised somebody last week, and I'm so sorry I forgot the name. I know they were from Australia. Was it you, Tawny? Yeah. Was it Tawny?
Yeah, that's okay. It must. Yeah, that was me too. I was thinking it was Tawny. I just didn't want to insult anybody.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry I forgot the name, but I'm good at forgetting things, so sorry about that.
Yeah, it is her. It was her foot, right?
Yes.
She had an issue with her foot.
Yep. And just to put this out there, I typically don't want to know anything about what's going on with the person when they ask for a healing, because I tend to fight it and like force the energy. And so even if it's a foot, I might be focusing on something in their hip or maybe their hand, and that clears up the energy that fixes the foot. So I don't want to know really anything about what's going on with them when I do it. I want to go in cold and let the energy take me where it takes me.
Okay, so if for those of you that don't know, Todd and I work together as in conjunction when we complement each other. Todd is very clairvoyant, obviously, the way his modality that he uses to heal. My gift is being able to channel strong energy. And Todd actually has even been able to describe my energy signature, which is like a corkscrew of golden light. And I've had 2 other people see it too, so I know it's there. So anyway, the way we work is Todd goes into his quantum room. We'll go into a meditative state, and I'll be channeling energy with the intention of the energy for the highest good being channeled into the quantum room for Todd's healers, as well as my spirit doctors that I work with, to assist in the healing. And I just keep channeling the energy, whereas Todd is the one that's actually visualizing and manipulating, and I just keep moving that energy for him. And so with that, shall we go into this? Is going to be I've never done a healing where I've got people watching me with my eyes closed. It's going to be strange, but whatever.
And I'll be doing the same thing. My eyes will be closed. You'll see my whole process, and you'll notice that my voice will change. The cadence changes, the timbre, whatever changes, because it's coming from a different place. So we'll probably be doing this for somewhere 5 to 15 minutes. It's hard to say. Time is different there. It might feel like I've spent an hour there and we only do 5 minutes here. And it might be the opposite where we spend a long time here and it goes by really fast for me there. But yeah, I'll be in a different place and you'll see that I'm gone. You'll be able to tell when it's all happening.
And I'll just keep. I already called in all my doctors and stuff before the show started to be here for this. So, so when you're done, Todd, I'll be here. Enjoy watching us with our eyes closed.
So right now I'm just concentrating my energy. And I'm in my quantum room now. It's out in space. It's in the middle of space. It's very cold. And I can feel the energy of space when I'm there. And I can really feel waves and hear waves of energy going through space. It's beautiful. I invite Tawny in. And my warrior team's with me, and Desi is really excited about this. So I'm going to let her do her thing. She's with Tawny now, sniffing, Beagle, great nose. She just removed something that I don't know how to describe it. It almost looks like a long steak bone, kind of like a T-bone from a steak, but not exactly. And it's glowing a yellow color. She took that out of the middle portion of Tawny's left leg. And we're going to give that bone looking thing healing energy, cleaning it. And now the love team's giving it energy. And it changes into something that looks very much like an armadillo, but not 100% like an armadillo. And it walks off and leaves us. The love team is now filling up Tawny's leg with healing energy, love energy, getting that full and sealed so that nothing else gets in there. And now Desi's taking something from Tawny's back, slightly above her right hip. It looks like a balloon. We get the balloon out, give it healing energy, love energy, and it stays a balloon and just floats away. That's rare. I can only remember one other item that didn't change. I usually see a change in its appearance. Now we're filling up her body, her back with healing energy. And now Desi is taking something from Tawny's chest, right where her ribs end, in the middle of her chest. It looks like a paper clip. We're going to give that healing energy and love. And that became a flower pot with a single flower. Looks like a sunflower, maybe. It's a sunflower type flower. Kind of reminds me of those singing flower pots that used to be out there. Um, and now she's very interested in the bottom of both Tawny's feet. And it looks like she's taking sandpaper off the soles of her feet, both feet. We're going to give that healing energy and then love. And it looks like the sandpaper turned into popsicle sticks and just kind of buried themselves in the ground. I don't understand what I see, and I just report what I see. I don't try to tell you what any of it means. It might mean something to Tawny. It might not. It might mean something to the other listeners. And if it does, that's wonderful. Many of our stories become your stories, so that's okay if you're moving along with it. That seems to be everything Desi's looking for right now. So now I'm going to take my hands and create a net, a filter between my two hands. And I'm going to put my hands over the top of Tawny's head and just slowly work down around her, holding my hands about 6 inches to the side of her, on each side of her, going down. And that filter is just cleansing her as it goes through. It's taking out any energy impurities, any energy toxins, just sliding it down to the ground and out through her feet. And we're going to give that stuff a good shot of clean, healthy, healing energy, and then love energy. And it went from kind of an orange pool of liquid to more of a blue stream that just kind of went away. It didn't go very far and it went into the ground. So the energies that we've taken from Tawny have returned to a different state, and now they're doing their own thing again, whether they go help somebody or just grow. And now the love team surrounds Tawny, and we just bring a ton of love in, coming up through her feet, all the way through her body and out through her head and fingertips. Just going out. The energy's coming out, pushing old, tired energy out, replacing it with great, wonderful, grounded energy, just pure love. And as she gets done and full, I call in her 7 generations. 7 generations from the past, 7 generations of the future. And when I say that, that's to help us understand it. I think we're more concurrent than on a timeline. I think our lives are happening at the same time. When people say they've had past lives, I think what we're talking about more is concurrent life, something that's happening now, that we're just part of a bigger whole. And these things are happening all at once. We don't understand time in our physical bodies. But her 7 generations are surrounding her. And I see a lot of colors. These people are wearing a ton of colors. Shirts, dresses, everything's very, very bright, vivid colors. And it looks like they're throwing things in the air, like a celebration, throwing stuff up in the air. I can't really tell what they're throwing, but things are going in the air. And as they're surrounding Tawny and getting her timeline correct, they're rocking her back and forth. She's moving back and forth. They're rotating slightly and also going side to side. And now it's big hugs and laughs. All right. And that was what we do. I forgot to look at the time when I started. I'm not sure how long we did that. Felt a lot of energy, felt a lot of really good cold energy. And Tawny, excellent, tingling big time. That's awesome. So hopefully other people that's the other thing. When I wrote my book, my editor was losing her mind. She is just an English scholar. And when I write these stories down, and yes, I would love to talk astral travel. When I write these stories down, it is in whatever tense feels right for that word. And so I might have a sentence with present, future, and past tense in it, using words that way, and it just makes her nuts. And she says, you have to pick one of them. I said, but those are the right words for what happened. She says, I don't care, nobody's going to understand what you're saying, so pick one tense and we'll go with it for each story. So just so you guys know, that's I will sometimes say funny things when I'm doing this that don't necessarily make sense to our physical brains.
So, as I've been honest about, I'm not as near as clairvoyant, but I did have a couple things flash in during it. The balloon.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. What I saw was, and it just flashed, was a purple kind of like violet kind of. Is that what you were seeing too?
Yeah,
okay.
It was a darker. It was the violet kind of sounds right.
Yes. The other thing that I saw was ocean. I was like on a beach and the waves were crashing and it was kind of like it was kind of a gray day, but it was powerful, peaceful, a lot of energy moving around. So I don't know if that means anything to you, Tawny, as far as a comfort or a relationship that you might have to the ocean that facilitates your healing. But that's what I was seeing during it. And as far as the energy that I experienced, it was a steady flow. It wasn't super strong, but it was steady. And it's still going. So I don't know if you were picking up any of that at all, Todd, as far as the energy level, but
yeah, I was because this was so new, I might have been a little bit too much in my head tonight. But I'm sure as we do these more and more, it'll be more like we used to, where I would have more feedback for you. But yeah, I'm a little bit knocked sideways right now. It was wonderful. It was fun. The waves you were talking about, I was seeing dark gray waves, but to me it was more of from space, the energy waves in space. But yeah, we were picking up kind of the same thing, just our perceptions, our brains interpreted it a little bit different.
Jamie's asking, how do we get chosen? We haven't really figured that out yet, exactly how we're going to do this. And if you can you can email each of us at our respective email. So mine's tysonsgift.com. There's a thing where you can email me that way. It's also my book site. And then Todd's is it Slipstream or the Slipstream?
Just Slipstream.
Slipstreamshaman.com. You could, if you have something that you really would like looked at, feel free to reach out to us. I can't guarantee anything, and we may end up doing it kind of spontaneous with people that reach out to us during the show too. We're kind of working that out still. So, but if you're really wanting a healing, a more focused healing, you can certainly reach us that way as well.
Yeah.
And he and Todd and I will coordinate to come up with a time when we can do it,
And so. Brandon and I are a little bit, and I'm not saying one of us is better than the other. Don't take that anyway, but Brandon does do sessions that you can book and that he charges for. I don't. I used to do free ones. I'm not able to anymore. I've moved more towards teaching people how to do this instead. So we're kind of on different, doing different things right now. But Brandon, you can book with you right at your website.
Well,
or
you,
through
you
your
can
email.
you can contact me that way, and then
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you. Are you this is something? Are you saying that you don't want to be involved outside the show as far as this is something that we
there
haven't
might,
discussed thoroughly,
yeah,
obviously.
there might be some, but about 3 years ago, maybe 4, I was on a very popular podcast and was inundated with people wanting healings, and I was trying to keep up with it. I literally had thousands of requests, and kind of hurt myself trying to do it, and I haven't been able to. I haven't gotten through all those yet, and so I'm not able to take on any new ones other than what we do here. And then certainly there's going to be some outliers where somebody mentioned that the energy. You're chosen when choose to work with your energy. Sometimes I just get a message from somebody and I know I have to help them, but I'm still trying to work through those other ones, and I can't take on any new ones right now.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I do
But
sessions.
who
I
knows?
charge
We might.
I charge a reasonable, very reasonable price that we could discuss if you contact me. But I have a day job too, so I do this for the joy of it mostly. So
Yes.
but yes, if you would like a healing, feel free to reach out. But we'll certainly be doing them on the show each episode.
For sure. Yeah, I love that. I love what we just did. It felt so good.
It
really
did.
happy.
It did, and it sounds like it made a difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony, you'll have to reach out to us and let us know if you notice any positive changes or negative, whatever you notice with your feet. And then we could discuss that on the next show too. We could talk about kind of what ended up transpiring from it. Not that results matter, because ultimately these things happen for our highest good, and we can't always consciously know how the healings are impacting us, but we just know if it's coming from light, which it is, because that's the intentions we're setting, that it's going to impact you in a positive way.
Yeah.
So Todd, I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Obviously, we're flying by the seat of our pants here a little bit, especially the way we got off to a bit of a rocky start. Do you, as far as what you want to share about yourself, is there anything else you want to add?
I can't think of anything right now. I just love what Tani just put about the flower on her nan's grave. That's beautiful. And her totem being the ocean. So that's really cool. I love it when we see those things.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that is wonderful. Okay. Well, I guess with that, we're right around the right time, hour and 2 minutes, give or take. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to our debut show. Generally speaking, it's going to be bi-weekly, so the next show will be tentatively in 2 weeks. I'm still kind of working out some scheduling things too, but going forward, it should be every other week. Generally speaking, on Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Yes. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you here next time at the Slipstream Gift.
Yeah, thanks everybody. This is awesome. I wish I was capable of reading all the stuff you're putting and talking, but I can only do one or the other. We'll work on it. But
yeah, definitely don't think that we don't appreciate all the comments, because we do.
Absolutely. That even though we may not respond, we still feel that energy, and thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.